doing 2 research studies right now. My first research study is on the psychology of cybersecurity, how a little bit of neuroscience in cybersecurity blends together in regards to cyber attacks. The second study has to do with some dark web economics. So just a little bit of background so you're understanding on what you're going to see. This research study is in regards to me just being on the dark web, navigating a few websites. I do not buy anything, but I do communicate with a lot of individuals. So I want to give you an update, and we're going to demystify the dark web for you a little bit today. So, does anyone know, just by a quick show of hands, do we know what the dark web is by hands up? Excellent, excellent, most of us do. So, we're going to dive a little bit deeper. The dark web is not all bad, it's not all good, it's kind of somewhere in between that limbo system that's going on there. However, on the dark web, there's a few things you can find. Illegal drugs, of course. You can find a ton of research, and you can find some markets to where you can buy some stuff. With these markets, there's an economic system that is developing. On the dark web, information is not sold by the person, it is sold by the data breach. So if you think that you're going to find specifically yourself out there, that's very rare. However, can you find yourself 100 times over in regards to a couple million people? Definitely, 100%. But with the dark web, it promises one thing, and it's built for one thing, and that's anonymity. It's not built for security. It's built to be completely anonymous. So heads up for you, if you're interested, do not go. But if you're on the dark web and you see something that says HTTPS, run. It's all HTTP. What HTTPS is, just to nerd out a tad bit, is security. It's a certificate between a computer and a server. On the dark web, they do not want that certificate to live on that server because it doesn't want to tie itself to your particular computer. So no organization, no government has any control of the dark web. It's kind of the Wild West out there. So there's 3 levels. You have the surface web, .coms and everything that you're familiar with. Then you have the deep web. The deep web is some research going on there. IoT devices live down there. Then down at the bottom is where we're talking. That's where all the bad stuff is. How does this work? We're not going to dive too deep into it. Why is it anonymous? It's because it's built on what's called an onion. An onion has layers. If you remember the Shrek analogy, onion has layers, the dark web has layers. You go from one computer to another computer to another computer. And all that does is add a little bit of encryption, actually a lot of bit of encryption on every step of the way from yourself or from the client to that server. Not many people, if any organization, will admit that they have broken the onion. That is extremely difficult to do, and to be honest, it's not worth it, because to break the onion means you have to decrypt every packet, which is going to take a ton of computing power just to see what page you went on, or just to see a picture. So that's why it's anonymous. That's the anonymity to it. So if we go a little bit deeper on what you can find on there. Obviously, all the illegal stuff you can think about. You can also find credit card information, you can find HIPAA information, you can find PII, PHI, all that information is out there. That is what's being sold. How it's being sold and the economics involved in that is very unique. So if I stood on stage today and I told you, today there was a data breach for 100 million records, 100 million people's PII was lost, that would shock absolutely nobody in the audience. So what happens to an economy when there is a flood of information? I'm a military brat. My dad's retired Army. And as retired Army, I got a lot of benefits, and I got breached. OPM. The OPM hack. My information's out there. Target, my information's out there. Marriott, my information's out there. Equifax, everybody's information's out there. So if you want my information, you don't have to go to one place. You can go to a multitude of places. So that, just like most economists will tell you, that drives an economy down. That drives the value of your information down. So, spoiler alert, not to offend anyone, as special and as unique as you are, your information's cheap. It's dirt cheap out there. So, there's never been a better time to be a hacker, ever, because you have that dark web, you have that onion that we spoke about, which is built for anonymity, and you have blockchain, you have Bitcoin, you have cryptocurrency, which tries to give you a bit of anonymity as well, if you do not tie your wallet to some of your personal identity. Your Bitcoin wallet can be pretty anonymous when you're online. And on top of that, it's not regulated money, but it's worth something now. So you have anonymous money that the government hasn't touched yet. So you can get information, you can buy illegal drugs, you can buy information, credit card information, without being known. And on top of that, the website that you're on, that you're purchasing, is on a network that's built for secrecy. It's not built for security, it's built for anonymity. This is the perfect storm for attackers. With the rise of ransomware and with the rise of the ease of data breaches, there has never been a better time to be a hacker. These are the number one through number 5 cryptocurrencies you can use for the dark web. Number 1 being Bitcoin, number 2 being Litecoin, number 3 being Moreno. Those are the payment methods being used in this economic environment. All of them built for some type of anonymity if you do not tie it to yourself. Let me asterisk that. If you tie your Bitcoin wallet, your cryptocurrency wallet to yourself, granted, yes, you can be found. If you do not, it's very difficult. A bunch of my cybersecurity friends in this room included, and a bunch of them not in this room, they will tell you attribution is almost impossible, if not very improbable, in any cybercrime. What attribution is how I can prove you actually did something. Meaning, if you commit a crime and the police, the FBI, whomever, will look for some blood, some hair follicles, some type of evidence that can tie DNA specifically to you, so I know you were there and I know you committed this crime. On the internet, in a cyber environment, everything would be spoofed. Like, hey, it's Dr. Huffman, that was your IP address. Well, someone can spoof my IP address. Well, that's the way you code. Well, people could code that way all the time. Well, it was your MAC address. Someone can spoof my MAC address. So attribution becomes extremely hard. And when you tie in this level of anonymity, how you have that layers of anonymity, it becomes very difficult to find anything out about anyone and to prove who was actually there. So, what markets are there? There's a slew of them. There's Dream Marketplace, there's Alpha Bay, there's Silk Road 3.0. Silk Road 3.0 is the Silk Road. The Silk Road was shut down, however, it's back. It was shut down once before, it came back, and then it was shut down again, and now it's back for Silk Road 3.0. They don't even change the name of it. That's how anonymous this is. You would think they would change it to something else. No, they just call it 3.0, just to keep the same client base there. This is where your information is. To demystify this, one layer forward. With the dark web, as your information is sold by the breach, this is different than a physical crime. A physical crime, if your car gets stolen, the police can find your car, you get your car back. In this environment, your data's stolen, that's gone. Don't worry about it, don't think about it, just try to patch the holes, because that information is gone and it's gone forever. Because once it's posted and it gets sold, you're talking about a criminal marketplace here. So, if I sell some data, someone can purchase that data, go to one of the other marketplaces, repost that data, and sell that data to get their money back. So not only are you gone once, you're gone in multiple instances, which further drives the market down. Not saying it's all doom and gloom for PII. No, there's still some value there. And we're gonna look at exactly how much this is worth. So your PayPal information. If you're on Empire Market, which is another dark web marketplace, this is a screenshot from Empire Market. You have your PayPal information and you can see exactly how much that is. But one thing I want you to note is in the middle, on the green line right there, well, there's some green bubbles, you can find it's just like Amazon. There's trust levels for your criminal. There's vendor levels for your criminal. Because this community that has been built is very strong. So a quick story. When I first started some of this research, I started just navigating a few websites, just kind of shooting in the dark. And there was an instance where a child predator had been caught and jailed. I went back to that site within a week, and I looked at that same site, and there was a post that, hey, John Doe was convicted, tried, and is in jail. This is the communication method that he used. Don't use this. The entire community shifts. And then someone else gets caught, the entire community shifts. This is a statement I stand by. If we had this type of camaraderie on the surface web with the good guys, we'd be better off. With us, data breach, you don't want to know how you got caught. Because if I tell you how I got caught, that might ruin my reputation. If I say, hey, it was, man, somehow we had Telnet open, which is a big no-no. Like, babe, we had Telnet open and they use this. We don't share that information. We kind of keep it close to the chest because we don't want to ruin our businesses. We don't want to ruin our reputation. Them, not so much. They talk to one another so they can shift, so they can be more anonymous, so they can be more secret. Because there's a few things that happen to people on the dark web. They can be doctor, lawyers, whomever here. But once you get that level of anonymity, the mask comes off. Then the truth comes out. And then you find people that are like you. Much like the surface web, you can find a lot of people that think the same way you do. To continue on, there's some more information. This information has been for sale multiple times over. One thing you can notice on this here, you can see how many times has it been sold. There's a few really good hackers out there. One being Gnostic Players. Gnostic Players has posted over 1.2 billion records in 16 months. Hall of Fame numbers. However, Gnostic Players takes the information down after about a month. He sells it for about a month long, 1,000 times over, takes it down to keep the value of that information up, to keep your value up. This is what we hope to see. Within the last week, the IRS shut down the largest child pornography site on the dark web. This is what we hope to see here on most of these websites. There's a lot of people doing a ton of work. This is also what we hope to see. When you see this platform, you go back, one platform was shut down from the United States, another platform shut down from somewhere else around the world. A lot of these sites are getting shut down. However, this is what we see. The site goes down, the site comes back up. The site goes red, it means it's down. However, the number on the right will tell you what's the uptime of that website. Is it up 100% of the time? No. Is it up 90% of the time? Most likely. And as these websites fluctuate, because understand, this is a community. We're not talking about one single person. We're talking a community. If that website goes down, John Doe, Jane Doe stands it back up. They go to jail, it goes down, someone else stands it back up. Every marketplace has similar numbers to this. No marketplace has 100%. So think about your information, think about your company, think about your business. With your business, as that information's lost, I'm encouraging you to take some of this information, because we're going to talk about what value's up, what value's down here in a second. But I want you to take some of this information right here with you and think, all right, you have to get it right. You have to get it right the first time. Because if you get it wrong once, you call one of your vendors, and that information is gone, and like, hey, you know what? Now I really need to protect this information. Understand, that information is most likely on one of these markets. And as that information is gone once, you just got to keep it from being left again. Because it's one and done in this instance. So how much is your data worth? And I'll let you know, this number is on the very high side. So your Hulu account's $2.75. You know, criminals like to watch TV too. $2.75, I can have your Hulu account. Your PayPal, as much money as you may have, it fluctuates, and I will let you know that my PayPal information is probably $1, if not 50 cents, period. Someone else's, some very rich individual, granted you have a lot more money, so that PayPal information is worth a lot more. To think that your data is not worth what you think it is, but it has to be protected, because we are a community. I shop at multiple places, so multiple people have my information. If my information is lost at Marriott, I just need to hope that Walgreens does a better job with my information. And Walgreens is not worried about what Marriott's doing, because the information can leak out, but that information just can't leave there. That's the mindset we need to have. The information, it's going to leave, but it just can't leave from you. Because once it's left from you, then the whole cyber insurance talk comes in. Because that information does have some value, has some value to someone, but no, you're already out there somewhere else. Your customers are out there somewhere else. They just can't leave home turf. You have to protect home turf. Because this information is out there, and it's out there a ton, and it's getting cheaper. It's getting way easier to get this information. What's going up, what's going down? Up, if you're gonna buy some cybersecurity hacker stock, buy stock in DDoS attacks. DDoS attacks are up. Before, they used to cost $25. And what I mean by cost $25, I mean I can pay someone to conduct this attack for me. I do not have to have the know-how to do this. I can pay someone with the know-how, with the technical expertise to do this. This is a lot more valuable today than it was a month ago. And then it was 2 years ago. DDoS attacks, in 2017 was about $25, $50, depending on how much data and how good the attack was. Now it's $100. At least it's $100 for a bad one. And with a really good one, you can spend up to whatever your imagination is gonna take it. What's going down? Your US bank account information. Your US bank account information is down about $50 on the very, very high end. If you have a lot of money in your account, that's about $50. And that's talking full access. US information is out there a ton. However, what's going up? European bank accounts. They're worth more than your US bank account. What's going down? Your US passport. A fake US passport. What's going up? Your European passport. Because you can get into a lot more places with a European passport than you can with the United States passport. Not all doom and gloom for us Americans. However, we're out there a lot. As your information is sold by the breach, think about how many breaches on US soil there have been, on US servers there have been. Think about how many times your information's out there. And as you think about that, think supply and demand. Demand is still high. The supply is just way too much. So how much are these data breaches costing? MyHeritage, one I would like to point out, 65.7 million records, $3,500. Think about how much per record that cost. The criminal, how much it costs you? Oh, it's a ton. It's not a one-to-one thing. Hey, I lost information, and it's not going to be sold for a lot, so you shouldn't charge me a lot when I get breached. No. You're going to pay upwards to about between $100 and $200 per record in a data breach. Over $1 million for a small data breach small businesses are paying. How much is it being sold for, though? It's not even close to a one-to-one ratio. 65 million records, you would think, it's got to at least be $100,000 for some value. No. Same instance when you go to Dub Smash. You got 15 million records, less than $5,000. MyFitnessPal, $4,200, 50 million records. The one-to-one ratio, how much it costs you versus how much it costs them, is not even close. So keep this in mind as you're starting to think about this. Look at all these different avenues, all these different marketplaces that are out there to receive this information. There's more than one, there's more than 10, there's more than 100. I highlighted a select few, like the big 5, but there's more than that. And as they go down, they come back up. They go down, they come back up. They're jailing. They're putting a lot of criminals in jail, and rightfully so, and I hope we continue to do a better job with this. But the economics of the data, economics of your data is low because we are continually losing this fight. I gave a talk at NASA a couple years ago, and the first question I asked them is, who thinks they're winning the cyber war? Who thinks we're winning the cyber war? Not a single person raised their hand. Then one of the senior engineers asked, he said, Dr. Huffman, what am I even protecting right now? Social security numbers are almost public domain information right now. Because granted, I'm doing a good job here. NASA, they've had their breaches, but he states, I'm doing a good job here. Everybody else is losing. And as everybody else is losing, it's driving everyone's information down. It's driving my information down. And take this to your business, to your home court. Look around, help one another out, think, hey, I can't lose because the data's getting cheaper, which means you're more at risk. Not because the data cheaper means no one wants to buy it, it means it's just easier to get. I still want your information. One thing that's going down, credit card data. Why credit card data is going down? Why it's so easy to get is because it has a short lifespan. It's like guacamole. You know, you make guacamole, avocados, good for about 5 seconds. By the time you get it to the table, it's brown and it has like a whole ecosystem growing out of it. That's how it is. Banks are doing a fantastic job. Granted, the credit card's stolen, you get about 1 to 2 to 3 good swipes out of it, and that's if you're lucky, and that's about it. A credit card, if you get it from a decent, and I use decent very loosely, vendor, 25 cents. A blank one, it's all white with a black strip on the back, doesn't have a chip on it. The chip is still good, doesn't have a chip. You just swipe it, and you're just hoping for the best. Because, understand on the criminal side, I just hope that same credit card wasn't sold to someone else. Because after those 3 swipes, that one swipes over, you just cut it up and you're done. Because your bank's gonna contact you and let you know, hey, your credit card has been stolen and it's been swiped in these locations. So credit card data is going down, 25 cents for yours. Almost regardless if you have a lot of money or not, almost regardless, because maybe you can buy a Chick-fil-A sandwich, maybe you can buy a Burger King sandwich, maybe you can get some gas, and that's about it. That's if you're not getting caught. One thing I want to highlight, because this has not been highlighted enough. When I spoke about Gnostic players, this is my personal opinion. When we talk small to mid-sized businesses, this is public enemy number 1. Gnostic players has not hacked anything really mainstream. Last month, Gnostic players hacked Zanga. If you play Words with Friends, hate to let you know, your information's out there. Your login information, your social media information's out there. Mine included. Right? So Words with Friends is good. It's a fun game, but however, hacked already. Gnostic players over 1 billion records within 16 months. Hacking small to mid-sized organizations. That's it. What keeps Gnostic players from the limelight? The federal government. You don't hack the federal government. You hack as many small businesses as you can, as many mid-sized businesses as you can. I mean, you stay low. Now, you can certainly Google the name and pull some information up, and you get to hear about the rounds. Information from Gnostic players sold by the data breach, however, by a collection of data breaches, by rounds. So Gnostic players, he, she, or they, no one knows yet, has 5 rounds. Each round, couple 100 million records. About 40 businesses within a round. And floods one of these marketplaces. It says, hey, here's this round of information. And it's $10,000, take it. The goal from Gnostic players, where individuals are saying on the dark web, 1 billion records. They wanted to put up 1 billion records in about a year. Mission accomplished. Not done. Already put out a warning. More information's on the way. More information will come. Mid to small businesses, mid to small organizations, mid to small websites, with the exception of Words with Friends. Words with Friends is probably a mistake, if you ask me, because now people are really talking. Before, my small company, my small business, your small business, maybe not so much noise outside of the local community here. Words with Friends, national news. They hacked Words with Friends, now national news. However, there's no one better. If you ask me, there's no one better. Information has been posted in plain text regardless of the encryption methods. You can use all the nerd stuff. I'm a nerd out, throw a couple acronyms out for my cyber friends here. MD5 with salt. SHA-256 with salt, SHA-128, doesn't matter. It's been posted in plain text. Individuals are thinking this person has a botnet of some sort to decrypt this information. This information is flooded. Hackers are flooding the information, where they're starting to take things down and they're starting to put them back up. Because now it's very cheap. It's extremely cheap on what's going on the dark web. When you start thinking about your information and the amount your information has cost, how much it costs you versus how much it costs the hacker. How much it costs you is 100 times, 1,000 times more than what it would cost a hacker, or if it would cost someone that just wants to get that information. Because when it's sold, it's sold. It doesn't need to be sold to a hacker. It doesn't need to be sold to a criminal-minded individual. It can just be sold to someone that just wants it. And as it's just being sold to those individuals, they can resell it. The resale market on the dark web is huge. Anyone can buy your information, repost it up, and resell it and try to make their money back. They have flooded their own economic environment with your data. They have flooded their own economic environment with my data to the point where you can literally just get it anywhere. Because we're sold by the breach. We're not sold by the person. Take this with your business. Protect your business. Protect home turf. Thank you.